What up, everybody? Nicotella here. If you didn't know, Black Mirror Season 7 dropped. Booyah! This week they released 6 episodes, which I thought was fantastic because in the past we've kind of gotten robbed when it comes to the seasons. We don't know if it's going to be 1 episode, 3 episodes, 5 episodes, but we got 6 episodes. And I'm not going to lie, 3 of the episodes I thought were good, and 3 of the episodes I kind of was like, So here is my list starting from worst to best of ranking the episodes of Black Mirror Season 7. Let's dive right into it. Okay, let's get into this. Before we do, remember, like, subscribe, do all those fancy things. Also, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Black Mirror Season 7, stop this, go watch it, come back. But here we go. I would say ranking at dead last, probably the weakest episode out of all 6 was Hotel Revere, which is about a modern-day actress who wants to revive her career. So she meets up with Aquafina, who's a big-time movie producer or something, and she puts her in a black and white movie. I think the best way I can describe this, and this is what made me think of Star Trek, is think of someone in Star Trek who is acting out a movie in the holodeck, and then something malfunctions, and they need to, complete the holodeck movie in order to get out of the holodeck. And that's pretty much what this was, and that's why I ranked it dead last, because it just reminds, like, Star Trek has done this in various episodes throughout 3 different Star Trek universes. Like we saw it in Star Trek Next Generation with Sherlock Holmes. We saw it in Deep Space Nine when Dr. Bashir was the 007 agent. We saw it in Star Trek Voyager with Captain Proton. Same old story. Something malfunctions. We're trapped in the holodeck. We have to play out the story so we can survive and get out of the holodeck. And this is pretty much what this episode was of Black Mirror, was the classic, I got trapped, we better get out. It wasn't that good. I thought it was kind of bland. The one thing is, I feel like Star Trek made it more interesting because, in Star Trek, like, if they don't get out of the holodeck, like, they die or holodeck characters are trying to kill them. But in this Black Mirror episode, that didn't happen. It was like she just needs to play along until the end of the story, and the story kind of changes and it's kind of dramatic. But overall, I just thought out of all the episodes, this one was the weakest because they kind of just stole the idea from Star Trek Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. All right, moving on. Ranking in at number 5, the second to worst episode, I would say, was probably Plaything, which gave us a little bit of a cameo. If you remember the kind of failed interactive Netflix Bandersnatch Black Mirror episode, well, we get a little cameo from 2 of the characters from that. I thought that was cool. To be honest, I thought with this, the story was kind of interesting. It's about a guy who I guess commits murder, gets arrested, and we find out that he played a video game that was kind of like The Sims. It's a video game where you can like create life forms and you can kill them and grow them and feed them. So it's pretty much he was playing a Tamagotchi computer game that we never really understand if it became self-aware, which I guess it did. And when he gets high on acid, he can communicate with like the little Tamagotchi characters as he feeds them and grows their population and then starts building a mega computer. Okay, I'm not going to lie. This is, again, kind of a same old story that we've heard over and over again, is like, sentient artificial intelligence coming from some sort of computer thing and a computer hacker who gets obsessed with it. Now, I will say this about the episode. This is why I ranked it second to dead last, is because the ending was good. And this is one of those shows where in this episode, I feel like the ending should have been page 15 in the script, right? So big spoiler alert. At the end of it, he's in the police station. He holds up some code to the security camera, and there's a sound that goes through it. And I guess these little creatures from the video game end up taking over humans, right? I mean, and that's what is implied, and then it blacks out. Now, here's the thing. I want to see more of that. And that's what I feel like this episode should have really been, was that we have a guy, he got this computer game, the computer game, comes to life, becomes self-aware, and then on page 15, like 2 or 3 scenes into it, that's when these things like take over mankind. And then we have this episode about this guy who created these like little computer characters who have now transformed themselves into humans, and now he's dealing with them. And then I think like the cool Black Mask thing would have been like him trying to destroy it. And then, the big twist is like he just can't, right? Like I think that would have been more interesting, because by the end of it, when the episode ended, I was like, wait, I want to see what happens. Like, is mankind get thrown over by little Tamagotchi characters from like a 1990s CD-ROM computer game. So again, I think this was a good idea of an episode. Granted, this has been done before, right? Like artificial intelligence, like rebelling or taking over mankind. But it definitely was something different, as in it was like Tamagotchi computer characters. But again, I would have loved to have seen that episode of it actually happening versus at the end when we're like, well, did it happen? Did it not happen? So I would say Plaything, not that good. Good idea, but again, not really written out that well. Then coming in at number 4, I would say was Eulogy with Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti, I will say, in this did fantastic. As always, he's an amazing actor. But again, I think he's just working with a storyline that was kind of bland. It didn't really have that Black Mirror twist to it. So it's about a guy who finds out that his old girlfriend has passed away, and they want him to kind of like contribute to the eulogy. And so it's kind of just like a whole episode about a trip down memory lane, and every photo he looks at, he can actually like enter the photo and look around, but we never actually get to see the girl's face until the very, very end of the episode. And this one, again, it didn't really have like I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't very Black Mirror-ish to me. Like, there wasn't really any twist to it. There wasn't really any drama to it. It was kind of just watching this main character relive his relationship with this girl. And then the big twist, spoiler alert, I guess he finds out in a picture that she had left a note for him that, like, if they wanted to get back together, to meet her at this time in this place. And, well, you know, he didn't Sleepless in Seattle it and meet her up at the top of the Empire State Building, so they just didn't get together. Again, I just thought it was just kind of a trip down memory lane, right? And I didn't like this because it's a big thing in my world, is like, it was a lot of telling and not showing. You know, show us this relationship, show us some flashbacks, like, give us a twist. You know, like a cool twist, because this is Black Mirror, right? Like, if you're, you know, and you got Paul Giamatti, like, give us a good twist for this episode, right? Maybe make it to find out that maybe she was a serial killer, and when we're looking at the pictures, we're finding out all these, like, clues and details, so it's like a detective mystery, and he's like, oh, whoa, man, thank God I didn't marry that chick, because she was a serial killer. But then, spoiler alert, the computer character he's been talking about is actually her, and she's not dead, and she's come back to kill his character. That would have been an awesome Black Mirror twist. I'm just saying, Black Mirror, if you're watching this or anybody's watching this, like, you should have put me on the writing staff, because I could have just Black Mirror twisted this all over the place. I think it was okay, but again, it was just one of those stories where it was kind of just like, okay, and then nothing really happened. There was really no drama. It was just kind of this guy looking at some old photos, which a lot of people do, just being like, coulda, woulda, shoulda. So I would say Eulogy, Paul Giamatti, you did fantastic, but I would rank this one out of the 6 at number 4. Number 3 is Petite Noire. This was one that I thought was pretty interesting, but I didn't like the ending. It's about a woman who works at I guess, healthy food candy company. You know, she makes like those vegan snacks, and you're like, oh, this is going to be healthy. This was a bad decision. So she works there, and then it's a girl that she used to bully in high school or middle school or something, comes to work at her company, and then all these strange things start happening to this woman, and she's having like a meltdown and a breakdown, especially over some almond milk. And then we find out that the girl that she used to bully became some like smart computer girl and built a device where she can just manipulate time and space and universe. She pretty much has like a magic genie like power. Like, she can just wish anything and it will happen. And to be honest, I thought this was kind of a cop-out of an ending, right? Because there's all these twists. It's like, why is this stuff happening to this woman? You know, she thinks this is going on, but this is not. Is she going crazy? I thought Black Mirror could have done a lot more with that, versus I feel like it was kind of a cop-out where it's like, yeah, you know, you used to bully me in school, and now I literally just created a device where I can just do whatever by clicking a button. click, 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 click. And I was like, okay, well, that's kind of just easy writing. And then the ending was this girl just ends up killing the poor girl she used to bully, and then she takes the device and then makes herself like empress of the world, and it just ends there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why do you think why am I ranking this above the Paul Giamatti episode? I will say, because this episode had more of a Black Mirror feel to it than the Paul Giamatti episode. So that's why I ranked this one at number 3. I thought it was really good, but then when we got to the reveal of like, oh, she just created a device that she can be like a genie and wish anything, I thought that was kind of a cop out and not the best writing, because it's like, well, the writers were like, well, well, what's the twist going to be? How about she just has a device that she just clicks and like literally can make anything happen, like literally anything. Done. Boom, stamp of approval. All right, coming in at number 2, and I really like this episode a lot, was Common People. And I would say Common People, I would rank this in one of my all-time favorite episodes in Black Mirror overall, because Common People was such like a society political commentary on how messed up the medical industry is today and how corporate it is and how much it's so like pay to play. So this episode was definitely like satirical, but very dark, very sad, kind of comical, very meta, and it's so many different elements of it. And this one, I would say, definitely represents what Black Mirror is all about. Because I feel like some of the best Black Mirror episodes are the ones that definitely call out like stuff within society. So what it's about, it's a husband and wife. The wife gets sick. The only way the wife can stay alive is she gets like a weird implant that's put in her brain and it keeps her alive, but you have to pay a subscription fee in order for her to stay alive, which is $300 a month. This, the husband and wife are like barely scraping by. She's a school teacher. He's just like a welder or a builder, I guess. They really never define it. So they don't really have enough money to do it. So it's kind of that typical thing of like, oh yeah, if you want this to work better, you have to pay more. So what happens is that they keep raising the subscription prices in order for this woman to stay alive. The other thing that I thought was really, really messed up, but I thought was really genius from a writing standpoint, and this is a big spoiler, is that the woman who has the implant in her brain, the wife, starts like randomly putting in commercial ads into her everyday conversation. So she'd be like talking to someone, and if someone had like dry lips, she'd be like, hey, go and buy chapstick, available for 2 packs for $3.99 at your nearest Walgreens. And it's just like so creepy that she's like interjecting these commercials and she doesn't even know she's doing it. But I was like, no, that would actually, in my mind, I'm like, no, that would actually happen if this medical technology ever existed. Like corporate America would definitely make people start spewing commercials. So you have this poor woman who has this implant in their head. They have to pay a subscription fee, but she's like spewing random commercials, and it's that typical thing of like, oh, if you don't want us to like, if you don't want the commercials, right? Like if you don't want to watch commercials on Netflix or Hulu, you got to pay more money. So they have to pay more money, and the prices just keep going up. They can't afford it. The husband turns to making money doing like weird, odd challenges on a website. So it'd be like, he drinks his own urine, or he like puts a mousetrap on his tongue. So he's doing like, self-harm to raise money. And the one thing I will say that I would say is a con about this episode is I think they really should have played that up more, right? Like, how far will the husband take it for money, right? Because he just does like a couple things and makes like a few bucks. But I wish is like the subscription price in the woman's brain went up. I would have loved to have seen more development in like how far will this husband go in order to make money to keep his wife sane and alive. So I wish they would have really fleshed that out a little bit more. Maybe he ends up like hurting someone or kidnapping or doing something like insanely crazy to make money to keep his wife alive. And I will say, big spoiler alert, at the end of this episode, he ends up like having one last moment with his wife for like 30 minutes. And then you have to watch it. I won't reveal what happens. I just can't. But it's a very sad ending to this episode, but it's like, it makes sense to me. So Common People, great episode. I rank it at number 2. It definitely holds up to like what Black Mirror is all about when it comes to the messed up, satirical, social commentary of what's going on in the world today. Great episode. And then finally, coming in at number 1, you guessed it. I think this is going to be everybody's favorite episode. We're back to it on the USS Callister into infinity. This was the longest episode in season 7 of Black Mirror. It came in at around 90 minutes. It's the sequel to the previous season with the USS Callister. If you remember, it was about the tech guy who created the online, I guess Star Trek, we'll kind of call it, game, and he clones his co-workers, puts them into a weird Star Trek universe, and harasses them and tortures them and all of these things. And this is the, I guess, second episode. We've jumped a little bit into the future. That guy has now passed away, but the crew is still stuck in the game, and they have to earn credits in order to pretty much stay alive. Pretty much just like any mobile game, right? Like to play the mobile game, you have to like pay to play, right? Guess what? I grew up in the age of like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega. We didn't have to do all that stuff. So have fun with your mobile games, paying to play. But then now I'm talking about this outline. We did do that with arcades and 25-cent quarters, but whatever. So it's a great episode. They're stealing credits. Then what happens is, they become aware. They're trying to get rid of the crew. It's a whole thing. Then you find out that the big twist is the big CEO guy who's a douchebag. He was the one who gave the device to the programmer, and then they clone the programmer, and he lives into the heart of the whole universe, and he's like there, trapped there, creating planets and working on it. And then, they infiltrate that core, and she meets with him because they want to get out. There's this big battle scene. It is a fantastic episode. I don't want to give away a lot of the details. I won't even give away the ending. I'm not going to give you a spoiler alert for this one. But the ending I thought was hilarious. It ends perfectly, just how you think USS Callister would end. But I will say it was the best sequel from, Black Mirror season 6. My favorite episode, the best episode, number 1 episode. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed because I feel like USS Callister, that could have been its own miniseries. Like, you could have turned that into, like, its own 6 episodes. So I'm kind of sad because, with this one, they end the storyline of USS Callister, but I really wish I could have gotten into the writer's room and been like, guys, like the USS Callister thing, like I like the sequel, but let's stretch this out into like its own season of 6 episodes. I think a lot of you can agree with me out there. So USS Callister, the greatest episode. I'm not going to talk that much about it because I don't want to ruin it for you guys. Definitely check it out. So guys, I'm Nick Catelli. That is my ranking from worst to best of Black Mirror season 7 episodes. We had some clunkers, we had some winners, and we had some really awesome ones. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Nick Catelli, and I will talk to you guys next time.